first job is to make our pizza dough, and to do that we're going to get our yeast activated. The yeast that we're using is dried yeast, and we need to bring it back to life. In a measuring jug, we're going to add some water that's boiled from the kettle, and then so it's not too hot, we're going to add just some normal cold tap water. And then we're just going to leave this for about 10 minutes until it's all frothy, bubbly and looking lovely, ready for the pizza dough. So here we can see that the yeast has been brought back to life by giving it that warm water and a little bit of food, which was the sugar. And now we're ready to make our pizza dough. So the beginning of our pizza is going to be our flour, and this is strong white bread flour. And we're going to start by adding about half of our yeast mixture here, making sure we get the frothy bit off the top. And then we can add some more of our liquid. When it gets quite stiff, we'll take the fork out and use our hands. Now, we want to keep one hand clean and one hand can be used for the dough. So we want to squash it and fold it until all the flour is mixed in. And we can use just our fingertips and our knuckles here to press it down. You might not need all of the water, so don't add it all at once. Now you should have a sticky piece of dough, a little bit like this. So we put a bit of flour down here, and we can press and fold it, and press and fold it. Now it should starting to look a little bit like bread dough. So our different kneading techniques, we can squash it and fold it up. You can use two hands and see if you can make a heart shape on your bench by pushing it one way and pushing it the other. Or we can stretch it by holding one here, pushing away, rolling it back up, turn it around. After 10 minutes, and when you've got a nice, smooth, soft, springy dough, we're going to let it have a little rest for half an hour. So in a bowl, we're going to put our dough in, cover with cling film, and we want to leave this in a warm place. So find the warmest place you can in your house. Okay, so after half an hour, your dough should be lovely and risen like this. So first we want to slice up our garlic as finely as possible. So we will cut the root off, squash it with the knife and peel the skin. And then we will slice it using our rock chop, or you can use a grater. Once you have all these pieces, we're going to do a cross chop. So a hand on top of the knife, thumb pointing upwards, and we go up and down on top of the garlic. Next job, we want some of our basil stalks, and we're going to keep the leaves for the top. So first, pick off all of the basil leaves, and then we're going to use the stalks and we're going to chop them with our rock chop into small little pieces. Once the oil's nice and hot, we can add in the garlic and the basil stalks. And now we'll add in half a tin of chopped tomatoes. Whilst our tomato sauce is thickening and getting all lovely ready for the pizza base, we want to turn on the oven And I'm going to turn mine on to as high as it can go. Now our oven is on as high as it can go. Our tomato sauce is looking lovely and thick, so we'll turn it off the heat and just let it cool down a little bit. And now we're going to roll our dough. And make sure that you've got some spare flour ready for when you need it. We can tip our dough out. Press it down into a rough circle, and you can make any shape that you want. We can use a rolling pin to gently press, and every time you roll it, give it a turn. I've got a pizza tray here, which is just a little bit bigger than the dough. You could use a square tray, it really doesn't matter what kind you use, but whichever one you do use, we're going to put a little bit of oil on the top to stop it from sticking and also help it go nice and crispy. Now we can lift the dough, one hand on, and lift it up, and then roll it back down. And then you can still shape it whilst it's on here if you want to pull it a little bit. We're going to make ours very traditionally, and we're going to use mozzarella and basil. And now this is ready for the oven, and it's only going to take up to 10 minutes. Keep an eye on it until the crust is nice and golden and crispy.